Okay, I'm here with my friend Letty Weiner, and we are going to discuss her experience when she taught internationally. Um, Letty, can you tell me where you taught?
I taught in two places. The first experience was in France, and we taught English at the American Library,
Mm-hmm.
and it was back in 1972-73, and it was a fun experience.
And then you taught again
I taught
internationally?
again internationally in China, and that was more recent. Of course, it was still a while ago, but it was more recent, 98, 99, we taught in China.
Mm.
And I got the job in both cases. Well, in France, we went there on a trip to visit the country and some other places, but we liked France so much we stayed there for most of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And we went to the American Library, and they were looking for teachers to teach French students, college students actually, who were planning trips to the United States, and they wanted to learn some English, so or practice their English basically, and so we worked with them.
Oh, okay. And then in China?
In China, my husband graduated from a program, in psychology, and he was getting his PhD. And when he got finished, we wanted to take a trip to relax, and so we ended up going to. We went to China,
Oh, okay.
and that was really fun. I guess that this particular university was sort of like a sister university to Arizona State University,
Oh, okay.
and so they were sending people over, and it was a fun trip.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. Was that university level as well as?
That was university level as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And how many students were in your class in China, would you say?
Well, that was really interesting to me. They cut down the size of our class, their normal size of a class. Their normal size is 150 people
Oh, wow.
in a class, in a regular class. But they cut ours down to 50 students.
Oh, okay.
So, and one class, my husband and I shared, and then we each had a class of our own that we taught. But they had 50 people in those classes, so
Oh, wow.
it was kind of a shocker.
Was that hard to do for you?
As it turns out, it wasn't. I think because I was accustomed to the students here in the United States, and mostly high school students. But these students were really interested in what we were doing, really wanted to learn, and students in general in China and in France are very respectful of their teachers. So
Very
it wasn't
well behaved.
very well behaved,
Mm.
and so it wasn't difficult at all. And
So you
we had a great
enjoyed
time.
it a great deal?
I did. I enjoyed it a great
Yeah.
deal.
How long were you there in China?
In China, we were there for a little over a year.
Okay.
Probably, let's see, 14 months we were there,
Okay.
and that was a good experience. So
And did you have a particular curriculum that you used?
we were allowed to make up our own curriculum. However, they gave us a booklet that they had printed that was filled with some writings. There's and some, ancient special people, and what they felt, but it was in English, and we were supposed to teach that in English. And there were some things that I did not agree with.
Okay.
Noam Chomsky's words, he was a communist, and there were things, and I told them that I would use the vocabulary, and I would teach the students, and I would help them understand what he said, but I was allowed to, whenever I wanted to throw in, I don't believe that.
Oh,
So,
okay. Well, that's good.
So I was demonstrating, and my students were like kind of shocked because I did that. I was able to do that, and that I had the nerve to do it.
Yeah.
But I was able to show them what freedom of speech is really like without ever saying this is what freedom of speech is like,
Oh, wow.
you know, but,
Did you emphasize any particular subjects?
No, I didn't. We were just basically looking for, because we were teaching them English, we were basically looking for things to just to talk about. For instance, we did a class on table manners. I talked about table manners in America, and I asked them to put together a report on table manners in China, and they didn't understand why I wanted to do that, but I said it's very different, so we need to talk about that. Actually, it was just an opportunity to have a subject to talk about
Okay.
and everything, and they rather enjoyed it, because some students assumed that the table manners were the same, you know, wherever you go in the world,
Right.
but they're very different.
Yes.
So.
Interesting. And did you use 21st century skills or technology in your classroom?
Well, this was a while ago. In France, no. We mostly talked, and we were in a library, so we had books to read and so on and talk about. In China, we didn't. We brought our laptop computer because we wanted to bring a computer with us. But, you know, after all, this was 98, 99, and so we wanted to bring a computer with us. And students were amazed. Now remember, they don't know what's happening in the rest of the world because the press is not free there. And China doesn't want you to know that things are happening better in other parts of the world. For instance, our students were surprised when we told them that a man had walked on the moon.
Oh, wow, they did not know
They
that.
did not know that.
Oh, wow.
No, that's not something they wanted them to know. So, but the, you know, other things that we talked about.
Oops, the lights just went out. There we
Okay.
go.
Other things that we talked about, they were surprised to find out that our laptop could hold more information and do more things than their big, boxy, you know, old-fashioned computer could.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How did it differ, your experience there than teaching here? You taught fourth grade here?
I taught fifth grade here.
Fifth grade.
Yeah.
And how was it a lot? I guess it was a lot different just because of the age difference.
Right.
But
Well, there was that. I mean, there were students, their English was not that good, and so it was almost like teaching elementary school,
Oh,
you know, with
okay.
some things. But the big difference is respect. Yeah, respect. The students
really respected
really
the teachers.
respected the teachers there.
And you
yeah.
don't find that always over here.
Right, you don't find that always.
You don't find
over
that a
here.
lot of the time.
Yeah, I mean, you know, but when you think about it, we have freedom of speech here, and that includes our students too, you know, but they don't know where to draw the line, you know, where they cross the line from respecting their teachers to just being totally rude, you know, and that's the way it was.
Did you have many resources to use? Did they give you many resources?
We made up everything. We did not even, we had access to a printer because we didn't bring a printer with us, and we would, they let us print things. Making copies, that was a big request for them, just to use their copy machine to pass things out, you know. And so what I did was just so they could get practice writing, I used it that, you know, I said to them, you need to get practice writing. So I would give them things to write. They would take dictation for certain things. I said very slowly. Their spelling was excellent, though.
Oh.
You know, because that's the way they learn English. Is their so if you see something to them and they want to say a word to you, you'll see them spell it out on their hand and then read it off their hand to you. And it was pronounced almost perfectly when they did it that way. So
Interesting.
it's very, very interesting. Yes.
And did you have any professional development before you went over or while you were there, or did you collaborate with any other teachers?
I did not have any development. I actually had just gotten my teaching credential, and I had student taught and that sort of thing, so I kind of knew how to design a classroom and, you know, curriculum and everything, but it was just so much easier. And I spent time, because I had spent time in France, I knew pronunciation was important, so I made up, and I love making up games, so I made up games that they could use to pronounce numbers correctly, because if you say 15 and 50 and you don't say it right, 50 is much bigger than 15.
Mm.
And that's one of the ones I would hear all the time. They're trying to say 15 and they would say 50. So we worked on that a lot and they got it,
Mm.
because they were interested in getting it.
Yeah. Well, last question. Did you see international mindedness apparent? Was it apparent in the classroom? International mindedness.
Oh,
Or mindness, I guess. International mindedness.
and international mindedness, yeah. And if I'm understanding you correctly, they were very interested in what's happening in America. At first, not so much, because they thought they knew everything that was happening in America.
Oh.
Because, like as I said, there's not a freedom of press, and so they don't get to read things. When I got off the plane, they took all my books, and some of them were just cookbooks. But the guys taking them didn't realize, because they didn't read in English, what it was. It was just a book, and they had been instructed to take all books, and so
But
that was kind of
yet
interesting.
they still let you say whatever you wanted to say.
In the classroom, I was dealing with other people more educated and everything who had understood freedom of speech a little better than these guys who just had a job at the airport to take anything that looked like a book.
Oh.
And so I'm sure they had a big meeting about it and decided that, okay, it's okay, I can do this.
You're teachers, you can have books.
Yeah, we can have books, or we can say what we want. I mean,
Right.
Noam Chomsky, I think I said before that that one was, I didn't agree with the things that he was saying, but I told them that I would use the vocabulary in that book, and I would use those sort of things and teach that. But the ideas, and I let my students know I don't agree with his ideas, but I'm going to teach you the vocabulary. And my bosses said, okay.
So you actually increased the international mindedness
I
in
hope
your
so.
classroom in China.
Yes,
Yes.
I hope so. And I have heard from some of those students through email and letters
Oh,
and
you still
so
hear
on.
from them?
Yeah.
Oh, how nice.
And I can tell that some of them are being very careful about what they say, because it's not
Still
free.
not
It's-
free.
Yeah, it's not free. I mean, the wrong person gets the wrong thing.
Mm.
Take something the wrong way, you could be in trouble. So
Well, thank you very much for your time
you're
and the
welcome. I
interview.
enjoyed it. Thank you.